The discussion was led by Chamath, Jason, Sachs, and Friedberg, with their guest, Ray Dalio, discussing his book, Principles for Dealing with the Changing World Order, Why Nations Succeed and Fail. Dalio spotlighted societal, economic, and political shifts occurring globally, attributing these to a recurring cycle seen throughout history. The cycle encompasses the rise and fall of nations and their corresponding socioeconomic environments. Dalio started off discussing his immersion into the finance world in 1971 amidst a financial crisis when the U.S. defaulted on its promise to deliver gold for dollars. He noted that it was an enlightening moment that sparked his curiosity to study previous periods with similar circumstances, with particular emphasis on cause-effect relationships and cyclical patterns. Dalio expounded on three key issues that he hadn't experienced in his lifetime but have vital implications on today's global transformations. Firstly, the vast levels of debt and money creation which spurred him to study past cycles of the rise and decline of reserve currencies. Secondly, internal political conflict embodied by populism. And thirdly, the rise of China as an economic and military power changing the world order. The ongoing internal conflicts, as he explained, exacerbate societal divisions and add fuel to populist sentiments, leading to unsuccessful democratic processes, such as the January 6th U.S. Capitol riot. This was a dynamic he saw as repeating across various moments in history. The analysis led Dalio to identify two additional significant forces that shape society. These are acts of nature, such as pandemics, droughts, and floods, and technological changes. Dalio emphatically notes that these two forces have toppled more empires and caused more societal change than anything else. Ray Dalio then presents a 4-minute clip summarizing the rise and decline of empires within the past 500 years, focusing on the cycles of the Dutch, British, U.S., and Chinese empires. The summary is based on 8 measurable metrics like education, inventiveness, and technology development, among others. These powers can gauge the rise or decline of a nation and shed light on historical patterns. Post the clip, the discussion shifted to China's evolving global stance, notably illustrated by its disconnection from the West and its pathways to claim the crown. Dalio highlighted that while China bears significant authoritarian characteristics, its path to global dominance may redefine the global order in profound ways. He emphasized the importance of understanding the inherent risks and benefits associated with both CAPs, democracy and authoritarianism. Dalio asserts that internal focus on improving domestic environments and high-functioning democracy is as crucial as managing international relationships. Lastly, they engaged in speculating and comparing the future potentials of India and China, offering a broader perspective on global power shifts, with Dalio conceding that it is difficult to predict definitive winners and losers in the historical cycle. Dalio's emphasis lies in understanding the consistent pattern of the rise and fall of empires, how it is caused, and how to manage it. Continuing their discussion, Dalio turned his focus on India and its potential growth opportunities. Drawing parallels between the current Indian landscape and China in the 1980s, the guest sees massive reform opportunities, creativity, and development. Amidst internal religious conflicts, he remains steadfast in his belief that none of these issues would deter India's progress. Dalio also stressed on the countries maintaining neutrality amidst global conflicts, presenting them as potential beneficiaries in ongoing power struggles. In this emerging order, he points towards ASEAN countries and the Middle East as epicenters for rapid development. Transitioning to China's worldview, Dalio highlights the Eastern giants' belief in their autocratic system, emphasizing their approach resonates with a well-structured company with a board and executive committees. Their approach cultivates a competition, inevitably leading to conflict, as an expanding system finds containment restrictive. The primary concern identified by Chinese leaders was the threat of instability. Responding to this, they rely on historic lessons and emphasize the importance of autocracy and strong controls. Host Chamath asked Dalio about the possible reasons for conflict if this new world order is transcending towards achieving some form of abundance. Dalio addresses these concerns, outlining that while we may be heading towards a productivity miracle, wealth and opportunity distribution continue to be a challenge, and social issues and beliefs could become platforms for conflict. Talking about debt, Dalio posits it as a potential catalyst for future conflict. Debt relative to incomes, he says, is rising, leading to an increased burden of debt service payments and squeezing out consumption. When debt becomes a commodity of conflict, alternatives such as tangible assets gain prominence. The monetary metal, gold, holds an intrinsic value that Dalio believes is seen as a secure investment. Discussing wealth inequality, Dalio acknowledges its existence and its effects on the societal dynamics. Despite the fact that U.S. median income is performing comparatively well globally, the perceived imbalance in the division of wealth only widens social gaps. This speaks to the inherent structure of contemporary economies that can often inadvertently facilitate wealth concentration and disparity. Having addressed the potential growth expectations and global conflicts, Ray Dalio moves on to discuss the wealth gap, specifically in the United States. While Dalio acknowledges that globally, the U.S. median income is performing well, he emphasizes the detrimental effects of wealth inequality on societal dynamics. Such imbalances in the division of wealth often serve to broaden social gaps more drastically. Focusing on his home state of Connecticut, Dalio talks about disparities in the educational context, where a significant percentage of high school students are either dropping out or are failing classes. The state spends a hefty sum on incarcerating individuals, yet struggles to provide essential resources, like computers, for education, exposing students to a reality that Dalio believes no one should have to bear. In discussing technological innovation, Dalio does not refute the U.S.'s competency. However, he emphasizes that while technological advancements are commendable, they are not a magic pill that can fix all critical problems, especially if structural financial issues persist. Despite rapid progress in the tech sector, we still see a society that spends more money than it earns. So, while debt increases, the allure of tangible assets, such as gold, grows, a situation Dalio deems dangerous, especially when combined with populism. Addressing Jason's question on potential criticism towards the elites in charge of the fiscal situation and foreign policy, Dalio agrees. He believes capitalism requires reform, not abolition. Dalio suggests that the system has inherent flaws, for example, in the areas of climate change and education, that a profit-based system alone cannot fix. Finally, concerning potential solutions, Dalio stresses the necessity of bipartisan collaboration. He argues that the nation needs a strong middle and leaders from both sides to take control and implement vital changes. He fears that continued fighting will lead to conflict and sees the only solution in well-thought-out structural amendments applied by a unified nation. While acknowledging the challenges represented by pre-existing conditions, he insists the imminent problems are not inevitable. He proposes a Manhattan Project-like approach, necessitating a bipartisan collaboration to engineer important changes. Check out the full podcast by clicking the link in the description below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for listening to this podcast summary episode of the Pod Slice.